You know who I'm talking about, right? The person kind of hanging back at a party or the super quiet colleague in a meeting. It's so easy to just slap a label on them. But today, we're going to pull back the curtain and explore the really fascinating psychology of what's actually going on inside the quiet mind.
Yeah, I bet this hits home for a lot of you. It's that feeling, isn't it? You're perfectly happy just taking things in, and someone comes up and asks if you're upset or bored. But what if that quietness isn't a bug? What if it's a core feature of a totally unique and frankly powerful mental operating system?
And that's really the big idea here. We're not talking about flaws that need to be fixed. We're talking about a completely different psychological blueprint, a mind that's just fundamentally wired to process the world in its own distinct way.
Okay, this is where we really get to the heart of it. This is a complete reframing. So what society often calls antisocial, nope, it's about being selective and, maybe more importantly, being anti-surface level. Lazy? Not even close. It's about being energy efficient. And weak? Absolutely not. This is what mental self-sufficiency looks like. It's not strange. It's the mark of a deeper processor.
So let's start with that social battery. Why is it that for some of us, a party can feel like running a mental marathon, while for others, it's just a walk in the park? Well, the answer is all about how the nervous system is wired.
The key concept we need to understand is high social sensitivity. And let's be super clear. This has nothing to do with being emotionally fragile or overly sensitive in that way. It means the brain is like a high-performance engine, processing everything, every little shift in tone, every piece of body language, all the hidden meanings. That kind of deep processing is incredibly resource-intensive. It just burns through fuel. And this right here is such a crucial point. This isn't about rejecting people at all. It's about a constant subconscious cost-benefit analysis. When every interaction has a higher mental price tag, you naturally become very, very careful about how you spend your energy. You're not anti-people, you're anti-draining.
Think about what's actually happening out in the world. The brain is in total overdrive. It's deeply processing every social cue. It's trying to navigate chaotic, unpredictable environments. It's analyzing every sound and conversation around it. It is exhausting. So, of course, the brain's natural response is to go into energy conservation mode. Home, a controlled, quiet environment, becomes a sanctuary. It's where the brain can finally lower its defenses and actually recharge.
You know, this whole energy-saving thing isn't just about social stuff. It's directly tied to the very mechanics of how this type of mind thinks. And that brings us to the real power of deep processing.
So, in psychology, there's this really cool idea of two thinking systems. System 1 is your fast, gut reaction, automatic pilot. But System 2, that's the slow, deliberate, analytical part. People who are deep processors tend to have System 2 dominance. They don't just react, they naturally pause. They analyze, they reflect, and that is the very foundation of strategic thinking.
And this way of thinking, it comes with some serious superpowers. These folks are natural scenario planners, always exploring the what-ifs. They are master connectors, seeing the hidden threads between ideas that most of us miss entirely. This is exactly why they need cognitive quiet. It's not about being alone, it's about giving that powerful processor the bandwidth it needs to do its best work. And maybe most importantly, they're constantly running diagnostics on themselves, using self-reflection to update their own beliefs. Okay, so if they're so analytical and need all this quiet time, how in the world do they handle relationships? Well, it turns out they approach connection with that exact same depth, which means for them quality will always trump quantity.
Let's be crystal clear about this. They crave connection, just like everyone else. What they can't stand, what they're actively avoiding, is superficiality. For them, small talk isn't just a bit boring, it's an active, frustrating drain on that precious mental energy.
And a big reason they can be so selective is because of another key trait: low social dependency. It's a fancy way of saying they just don't need a crowd to feel validated or a packed social calendar to feel entertained. Their own mind is a rich enough source of comfort and engagement. And that is the bedrock of their self-sufficiency.
So this leads them to use what you could call a highly intentional friendship filter. Step 1, they observe. They watch and notice patterns in people that most of us just breeze past. Step 2, they actively bypass the small talk that they find so draining. And finally, Step 3, they wait. They wait patiently for a connection that feels real, that feels authentic. This isn't a failure to make friends. It's a deliberate, careful strategy for creating bonds that actually matter. Okay, so let's pull all of these threads together. Because when you combine all these traits, what you get is a profile of quiet, often totally underestimated strength. You get the hidden power of stillness.
This is their secret weapon. While everyone else is busy talking and performing, their mind is like a sponge, just absorbing everything. They're the ones who catch the subtle shift in tone, the brief hesitation, the tiny nonverbal cue that tells the real story. In a world this noisy, that kind of quiet observation is a legitimate superpower.
There's this quote that just nails this idea perfectly. The loudest person gets the attention, but the quietest one holds the knowledge. See, attention is fleeting, right? But knowledge, that's lasting. The person who isn't busy trying to be seen is busy understanding.
And this is how that power actually shows up in the real world. Their silence itself becomes a tool. It creates a space that makes other people talk more, often revealing their true selves. So when they do speak, their words land with incredible weight because you know they've been chosen with intention. Their inner stability makes them incredibly hard to manipulate, and that rich inner world means they are never, ever truly bored.
So if there is one single thing you walk away with today, let it be this. Quiet is not the same as weak. In a world that is just saturated with noise, stillness, observation, and deep thought, that often means you're looking at someone incredibly powerful. And that's the final question I want to leave you with. In a culture that so often celebrates and rewards the loudest voice in the room, what are we all missing? What is the true strategic power we're overlooking by underestimating the quiet ones?